Hello, data enthusiast. Welcome back to Guide Coachings, your one stop solution for all the learnings. In this tutorial, we are going to see how SQL works and why SQL is developed. So, SQL stands for Structured Query Language, which was developed by IBM in 1970 to develop a project. It uses SQL engine to execute SQL queries. So, importance of a table. Whenever we talk about the importance of a table, the basic concept of storing information in tabular structure is, let's assume you are a teacher and you want to store student marks. So now you have student name, you have different subjects. If you store it in this way, you can see over here that it is quite difficult to read, quite difficult to analyze, and it will be, there are high chances that you will miss some information. To overcome all these circumstances, we have developed a technique that is called tables. In tables, we put information, it will be stored in a precise way. Okay, so if you see over here, we have created a student table where we are storing the student names, then we are storing their subjects, and then we are storing the marks they have secured. It is easy to understand, it is easy to analyze that which student got how many marks. So now let's move to the next topic, that is data types. How many data types are available in SQL? So there are mainly three data types which are available in SQL. The first one is numeric, the second one is string, and the third one is date. In numeric data types, we store numerical values like integer and float. Then we have the second one, that is string type of values. In string, we store varchar, nvarchar, and character. And the third one is the important one, that is date. You will be using date time or date. Why data types are important? So let's assume you have a name. Let's take a previous example where we are storing this information. John, Emma, Liam are the three students. To store their names, we have a different data type. To store their marks, we have a different data types. If we have the percentage, we will be using float. If we are storing the numbers, that is marks, we will be using integer. If we are storing the date of birth of all the students, then at that time we will be using dates. We mostly do our calculations on date, so that is why date function and date data type is very important. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is how to create a table. So to create a table, we will be using different data types, but there is a syntax available in SQL. We will write create table, table name, and then inside a curly brackets, we will be writing column names and space their data types separated by comma, and we can put any number of columns which we want. So now let's quickly see how to create a table. So for creation of a table, we know that we will write create table, table name, that is student, and then inside it we will be writing roll number, so we'll write int, then we will put comma, and then we'll enter the name fl, first name last name, then we'll give the data type, that is n varchar, and then we'll give the size over here. Is it required? Yes, it is required. How much is ideal? Length, which could be around 15 to 20, because most of the time, most of the names have 20 letters, okay, maximum including spaces. If it requires more than that, the memory will be allocated dynamically for that particular name. But if it is requiring less, then 20 will be the minimum value for n varchar. Now we'll see the example of date. So we'll say DOB and then we'll say date. Okay, this is how I am creating it. So now if I execute this, now you can see command completed successfully. Now we'll go back. So this is how we can create a table. This is the syntax of creation of a table. Now moving on to the next topic, that is how to insert records inside a table. We'll see first syntax and then example. So the syntax look like this, where we will have insert into, and then we will write the table name space values, and then we will give the values, value 1, value 2, value 3 for respective columns. These values, value 1, value 2 will refer to the column 1, column 2, column 3. So let's assume you have 3 columns and you are putting value 1, value 3 and value 2. Or if you are putting value 3 inside column 2, it will not assume that. If you are writing it in a sequence of creation during the creation of a table, that sequence is going to be followed while insertion is happening inside the table. I'll show you what I am talking about. So here we will be inserting the value. So insert into, then over here I'll write the table name. What is my table name? So I have student. I'll select it from here, and then so now if you see, I have roll number first. Okay, so insert into, and then I'll say table and then values, and over here I'll insert roll number first. So this is my roll number 1. Then I'll insert the name. So whenever I am inserting a name, it will be into single quotes. Remember that whenever we are inserting any string value, it will be in single quotes. So there are two values which are going to be in single quotes. The first one is string values and the second one is date values. Russell Peter. I'll put comma and then I'll insert the DOB. So again, I'm going to use single quotes over here, and I will say 1980 hyphen 12 hyphen 08. So this is my date of birth. Okay. Now insert into values. Now if I execute this, syntax near values, insert into student, and it will hold values. Okay, so now if I execute, it will row 1 is affected. Now here if you see, I have entered in the same sequence, the table has the columns. If I put the name first and then the value, if I put value 2 into the column 1, will it going to be accepted? Let's see. No, it is not going to accept. If you want to do this kind of insertion, what is the alternative process you need to do? And I'll just put it over here. I just want the name first. So over here, I'll put name first, and then I'll insert roll. Okay, and this is how I'll do it. Here we are trying to insert string value into integer column data type, but it is not going to do that. So to do this kind of insertion, we need to have first name first and then roll number and then DOB. So if I execute it now see, it is executed. This is how you can insert the values. So these are the two ways. The first one is by defining the column names, and the second one is simple, where you are just following the sequence in which the columns are created. Okay, now moving on to the next topic, that is how to show the value. To show that, we have a simple query, that is select star from, where star stands for showing all the columns which are available inside a table. If a table have 3 columns, it will show all the 3. If the table have 2 columns, it will show 2 columns. If it has 10 columns, it will show all the 10 columns. That is the significance of asterisk. So here we will be writing select star from, and then we'll write the table name, that is student. Now we will be executing the query. So once you execute the query, you can see we have 2 records, Russell Peter 1980 1208. This is how the records has been added. Now if I want to see only name, so what I will be doing here, I will be writing only FL name. So this will show me the name, all the names which are available. So if I want to see only selected columns, I can write the names. If I want more than one, I can put comma over here and I can give the name. So what is the name? DOB. I want to see DOB. So I'll select that and I will execute it. So it will show me the date of birth also. So now I have selected only 2 columns. That is why it is showing only 2 columns. If this table have 10 columns also, it is going to show only these 2, because I am asking for only these 2 columns. This is the beauty of SQL, to customize data according to your needs, to see data, to manipulate data according to your needs. So this is how you can show selected data as per your requirements. You will write select column names whichever you wanted, and then you will execute it. You will get the columns which you wanted to see, like ID and name. Okay, you can try it by yourself and you will get to know how it works. Now if you have seen, we have added a duplicate record inside the table, which is Peter, Russell Peter. We have added it twice. If we don't want this kind of ambiguity in our data, what we are going to do. So for that, we are going to use constraints. Only relevant information, only valid informations, we are going to use constraints. What are constraints? How many types are the constraints available? And how to use it? We are going to see it in the next session. Thank you.